on global geopolitics. I'm your host, Daniel, founder of HM Intelligence. Every weekday, we bring you not just the news, but the so what from the events and decisions that shape your world. The brief will be short and sharp, allowing you to stay informed and up to date on the go. So grab a coffee and get ready to be informed. In today's update, we will be covering the Armani and Dior investigation by Italian authorities, the 10-year anniversary of MH17, and Moscow responding to Ukraine's peace summit invitation. So firstly, Italy's Armani Group and France's Dior are under investigation for the second time this year by Italian competition watchdog and the Guardia di Finanza financial police. Officials have confirmed that inspections were carried out on Tuesday at both companies' Italian headquarters. Armani is alleged to have misled customers about the social commitments and the craftsmanship of its pieces, which often retail for thousands of euros, claiming they are handcrafted by skilled artisans. Both companies are also being investigated for labour practices. In some cases, the companies may have used supplies from workshops, employing workers who receive inadequate wages, worked excessive hours, and faced poor health and safety conditions. It appears likely that this is part of the EU's updating of the supply chain regulations that requires companies to be much more active in conducting checks along the supply chain. While it is not clear to what level the company's directors were aware of what was occurring, it highlights the lengths that the EU is willing to go as part of their crackdown on modern slavery. Additionally, it is clear that companies throughout the EU will need to increase their levels of due diligence specifically on their supply chain to avoid being exposed to excessive risks. Next, this Wednesday is the 10th anniversary of Malaysian Airlines Flight MH17 being shot down over eastern Ukraine by rebel forces with Russian support and equipment. Ceremonies in Europe later today will centre around the Netherlands near Amsterdam's Schiphol Airport, where the plane took off, the site of the monument to the 283 passengers and 15 crew that were lost. Of these victims, 193 were from the Netherlands. In Canberra, Australia, far ahead of the Netherlands in terms of time zones, a memorial took place at Parliament House on the Great Hill on Wednesday morning. Foreign Minister Penny Wong and former Prime Minister Tony Abbott, in office when the commercial airliner was shot down, were among the attendees. 29 of the people killed on the airplane were Australian citizens, and 9 others were residents. The European Union, like Wong at the ceremony in Canberra, referred to UN Resolution 2166, saying it reiterates its full support for all efforts to establish truth, justice, and accountability in the case. While it is highly unlikely that Russia will ever accept responsibility, it is almost certain that they are responsible, with significant evidence pointing towards this fact. Regardless, the West can learn a lot from the information campaign Russia ran following the event and use it to inform their strategies on being more resilient going forward. This included large amounts of disinformation and competing stories and narratives published shortly after the shooting. Lastly, the Kremlin has responded cautiously to an apparent invitation from the Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelenskyy for Russia to attend the future peace summit, saying that Moscow first needs to understand what this means. After Russia was excluded from a high-level international gathering convened by Kiev in Switzerland last month, Zelenskyy said on Monday that Russian representatives should be welcomed at the second summit. In response, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told a television channel on Tuesday, "The first peace summit was not a peace summit at all. so perhaps it is necessary to first understand what Zelenskyy means. The United States said it welcomed Zelenskyy's decision to invite Russian representatives, but expressed doubt over Moscow's willingness to come to the table. This could be a step towards a peace deal. However, it is unlikely that either side are willing to compromise at this stage. It seems unlikely that Ukraine will give up any territory and that Russia will withdraw its forces, making peace an unlikely outcome of current talks. One tide turner could be the use of Western weapons on Russian positions just across the border. This could cause Russian assets to relocate much further away from the border, limiting their effectiveness against Ukrainian targets. Thank you for listening to the Intel Briefing, your daily intelligence brief on geopolitics, brought to you by HM Intelligence. If you want to support the podcast, tell your friends to help them stay informed and leave us a 5-star review. Or if you want to learn more about intelligence, why not take one of our online courses? They are all self-paced and affordable. So thank you for listening. I've been your host, Daniel, and I'll see you next time.